Okay, so I've never made a video before for anything like this, so if it's rubbish, I apologise in advance. Since I put up my last set of pictures, I had lots of private messages asking me how I did the horses with the contrast paints and if they're any good and if it saved any time. And I thought the easiest way to respond to that would be just to film it and to potentially just time it. So I've got 3 light horsemen here from the Perry War of the Roses range. They've already been undercoated in the grey Sear undercoat spray from Games Workshop, and that should give the contrast paints a more muted, what I can say, realistic tone. And then we've got 3 light horsemen set up here to put on them. To give you an idea, these are 2 that I've just finished. So this is sort of the level I sort of want to paint them to. These have been finished and based, and yeah, I figured we would just have a go at doing it and see what happens. And so I'm going to time myself, and we'll see. So I'll start it now. Right, let's get going. Okay, so here we are, and it's been 8 minutes 15 seconds, and I've just finished doing the base coating for all the horse flesh. This is obviously going to be the longest part because there's quite a lot to cover. So now we are, to give you an idea of the coverage. I avoid the reins and the saddle as much as possible. To be honest, there is some splash over onto them, but when I put on the next coat, it doesn't really matter, and it adds a bit of variation. Ultimately, you're going to be looking at these miniatures from 3 foot away, and they'll be on a table, so it doesn't bother me too much if there's a bit of splash over or some imperfections. And yeah, I think that's a much better. I don't want to stress myself out trying to do them. I'm just trying to do these to a good standard and get them out so we can start having games. So for the black horse, I've used the Black Templar contrast. The white horse is the Apothecary white, and I've used Gore Grunter fur on the brown horse, the sort of chestnut coloured one. So now I've got a while waiting for those to dry. I'm going to work a little bit on the horsemen themselves. It does take a little while to dry, especially when you put it down in such large quantities. However, it is a scorcher today, so hopefully they will dry fairly quickly. Okay, so I'm going to get started and start putting down the armour layers on the horsemen, and we'll see where it is in a second. Okay, that one went on a little bit longer, so I've been playing around with quite a bit here. So I've just left the horses to dry, with the one exception, the one at the back, because I had the Basilicanum grey out for the armour. I then chose to do his mane just because I had it out. So there is just a subtle variation with the Black Templar, and yeah, that should look quite nice at the end. So I've just been focusing on the riders. So here we've got a archer with his bow stored away and slung, and I've chosen to do him as if he's wearing like a leather doublet with chainmail underneath. So the armour is Basilicanum grey. It gives it sort of a nice non-metallic metal finish, and if you like that, not everybody does, then go for it. It's a very quick way of doing armour, not a lot of dry brushing at the end. So this guy I've actually painted up in the colours of the Lord he's in service to, which for this unit is going to be Lord Hastings, who was a Yorkist. And here's just another rider here. I want this unit to have a bit of sort of a Dirty Dozen feel about them, so they're sort of a ragtag group of ruffians, so I'm not sticking rigidly to one livery or one set of weapons. So we've got an archer here, I've already shown you, I've already done the swordsman here, and we've already completed a crossbowman as well. I like the idea of just a sort of a ragtag group of horsemen charging around the battlefield, riding down the Lancastrians. So now I'm going to switch back to doing the horses while they dry, and I'm going to do the saddles and the reins and pretty much everything else that's left on the horse. So I will catch you in a second after that. Okay, let's see where we are. The horses have all been pretty much finished. All that's left to do is a little bit of detail work on the studs on the harnesses, the eyes and the teeth, and I haven't decided yet if I'm going to sort of do any patterns on them, or I might put some socks on the black one here. He's obviously got that nice little bit of armour on the front, so I've done that in the same grey as everyone else's armour. And then we have this one here. Now I've done Blood Angel's red contrast for the saddles for a sort of a red leather effect. I should probably say as well, these are all just single coats of this contrast paint. There we go. So here's this little guy here, so for focus. So it does a very good job of pre-shading, and sorry, you're pre-shading with the spray. Actually, it does a good job of shading and then highlighting. This fella here, and they're just right now. I had to use one paint that wasn't contrast here, which is for the covering for the longbow, which is Deck Tan, which is another colour I'm going to be using again in a minute. But everything else so far has just been the contrast paints. There is one other paint I'm going to use, which will be a silver, and I use that for doing the tips of the weapons, which I do a little bit differently from the armour, just so they stand out. It's for no other reason. And yeah, and timing wise, we are now on 27 minutes to get them to this point. So I'm now just going to crack on and finish these and get them stuck onto there, and then I'll show you the final bit that I do. Okay, the models are all basically done, and the horses have had the details added to them. Just got to do the pupils of the eyes, and all of the horsemen themselves are now ready for the final bit before attaching them to the horses. So the final thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the absolute lightest dry brush possible of Deck Tan. I love this colour. So I do this on pretty much every single model I paint, and it just adds a bit of wear to the clothing. It highlights gives you some good edge highlighting, and I find that it's just great. I mean, you might not want to do that. Some people don't want to do that. Some people like the crisp look. I like personally a worn look. So I'll do that, and I'll show you what the end result is. Okay, and we're done, and I'm pretty pleased with how these guys have come out. So you can see that I did add some socks onto him. You can see it's just it's a very light dry brush just to. Now I do have the transfers to add the livery badges onto these guys. However, I'm not going to try that just yet. I've got this guy. I really like this guy, the archer with his redeploying. So all that's left now is to glue these to bases and apply the flock, and then these guys are ready to go. And the total amount of time that I spent to get these guys from undercoated to the state that they are in now is 41 minutes. So yeah, anyway, I hope this was of some help to anyone. Thanks very much for watching.